The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights says that nearly 10,000 people have fled eastern Aleppo as Syrian forces close in. It's the largest exodus in months of heavy bombing on rebel-held areas. Some residents were bused to temporary shelters in government-controlled areas of the city. Others fled to the Kurdish-controlled neighborhood of Sheikh Maqsoud. The Syrian army says it's taken control of 3 major districts from the rebels.
We lived a very terrible life. We were humiliated. We saw death. There's no bread, no food, no sugar.
We only had bread made with barley. There is no aid, no jobs, and no money.
As government forces quickly close in, recapturing the besieged city of Aleppo would be a major victory for Bashar al-Assad and a huge blow to rebel groups in northern Iraq. But it would also come at a great human cost. Well, TRT World's Abubakr al Shamahi is joining us now from Gaziantep near the Turkey-Syria border. Abubakr, we're seeing reports of thousands of people fleeing the fighting. Reportedly, many are seeking refuge in rebel-held areas and the government side as well.
Well, civilians in those districts where the fighting's taking place are fleeing, as you said, either into regime-held areas, rebel-held areas, or areas taken by Kurdish forces. And you have to remember that these are civilians who've remained in some of those areas for 4 years through heavy bombardment for those all throughout those 4 years. And the very fact that this time they've actually fled points to the fact that this time's different. And it's different because of the quite rapid regime advances over the past few days. So on Saturday, they took Masak and Hanano. On Sunday, they took Jebel Badr. And now reports differ as to whether they've actually finally managed to split rebel-held eastern Aleppo into 2, which is the aim of this current advance, to split it into a northern part and a southern part. And to do that, they'd need to take the Sukhur district. And as I say, reports differ as to whether they've actually managed to take that district. But even if they haven't, they're very close to. And there's reports that some rebel forces have started to pull out of that neighborhood.
How quickly do you think the regime could potentially take Aleppo if this strategy to divide those rebel areas into succeeds?
Well, if they continue this advance, and as I say, it's been pretty rapid so far. If they do manage to divide the northern and southern parts of eastern Aleppo, it would leave the northern part, which is a lot smaller than the southern part, incredibly vulnerable and pretty much indefensible for the rebels. And you have to remember, on the regime side, when we're talking about regime forces, a lot or a significant number of those forces are foreign fighters, usually from Shia backgrounds, from Lebanon, from Iraq, from Iran, from Pakistan, Afghanistan. They're very highly motivated, and they've been a turning point, or they've swung the tide in Aleppo. For years, it was thought that the rebel side would come out on top of what's developed into a war of attrition in the city, but it looks like it's actually the other way. And for rebels, Aleppo is a highly symbolic, highly strategic city. When rebel areas and cities like Hama and Homs fell, it was Aleppo that remained and withstood. But it looks like that's rapidly changing. And for civilians on the ground, they know that each regime advance brings with it more shelling, more airstrikes, and inevitably more death.
Right, many thanks for that update, Abubakr al Shamahi, live in Gaziantep.